Oh my God. You guys, I'm awful at this podcasting thing. I really wanted to do this, and now I'm like getting so critical of myself. Every time I listen to the podcast that I recorded, I start re-recording it, and that's what I'm doing right now for like the fifth time. So by the time I actually upload this, I'll probably have enough content to post like 4 more episodes in a row. So hopefully the gaps between episode 1 and 2 is just like an episode 1 and 2 thing and not a consistent theme with this podcast. Also, I really want to do like a theme song of sorts or like an intro song. So if you know anybody that can help me out with that for the low, let me know. But without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, petty people. Welcome back to the second episode of Puff Puff Petty. Now, I told you guys that I would be working on the sound quality, so let me know how this next episode sounds. From working in radio, I do know a couple tips and tricks on how to improve sound quality, and that includes recording this entire episode with a blanket on my head. But anything for you guys. First things first, my first episode was so successful, and I'm so grateful that you guys fucking liked it. And I want to thank everyone that took me seriously and gave me feedback and gave me topics to talk about. I really appreciate your involvement in this podcast, and I hope that we can grow together. And as always, I want this to be a working relationship. So please, feedback, topic suggestions, anything is always welcomed. This podcast is nothing without an audience, and I really appreciate hearing some fucking feedback. And funny enough, the biggest piece of feedback that I got on my last episode was that I curse a lot. As much as I want to say that I'll be working on that, I can't make any fucking promises. So without further ado, let's jump right into episode number 2. I was thinking this podcast is called Puff Puff Petty. Why did I name it that? Because I'm petty? Because I like to smoke weed? Well, secret's out. It's a little combination of both, although I actually don't smoke that much weed anymore. And I've had the name for this podcast in my head for a couple years now, and it would be a shame if it never got used. But truth be told, throughout my entire life, I've been told that I am extremely fucking petty. But honestly, I think it's just because petty shit always happens to me, and I don't have patience for it anymore. And honestly, it's worked out in my favor because I'm the friend that you call when you break up with your boyfriend. I'm the friend that you call when you need to get revenge on somebody. I'm the friend you call when you want to piss someone off a little bit. And let me tell you, I have been responsible for some very petty revenge pranks. And when I say petty, I don't necessarily mean like malicious or illegal pranks. I'm talking petty. I'm talking childish as fuck things to do to people. Like signing your ex-boyfriend up to get visits from the Jehovah's Witnesses, TPing someone's house, which I know is technically illegal, but it's so freaking minor. Like nobody got hurt because you threw a roll of toilet paper into their tree, you know? It's just something that you do and then you go home and you giggle about it later and you just, but now in the age of Ring cameras, that shit is totally impossible. And honestly, I'm a little too old to be TPing houses these days. That's kind of some stuff that I would do in high school. Now I'd be getting petty in adult ways. Like signing you up for junk mail. God, I fucking hate junk mail. And they make junk mail look so legit these days. Like it'll have like the perforated sides. It looks like a government document. So you want to open it. You're like, oh man, maybe it's like a check from God knows where. Not that I'm expecting a check. Then you open it and it's like a 25-cent discount on laxatives, which actually might be useful for some people, but that is between them and God. I don't need to know that. One of my other favorite petty things to do is to order people drinks from across the bar. Like shit that I know they don't like. Like for example, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago, so Malort is like huge around here and everyone knows it's not good. And if you actually like Malort, you're fucking lying to yourself. It tastes like the inside of a fucking recycling bin. But where I'm from and mostly the people that I associate with or drink around, they also like Jameson, and Malort and Jameson kind of look the same in a shot glass. Malort's a little lighter, but at a glance, you would never know unless there's another shot right next to it, right? So if someone's pissing me off, I'll just be like, hey, go get so-and-so down the end of the bar a shot of Malort and tell them it's Jameson. Sometimes I sign my name at the end. I'll be like, yeah, tell them it's from me. Other times it's like, just let them figure it out. And then you just sit back and watch. And if you've ever watched someone take a surprise Malort shot, the face that they make is absolutely terrifying. Like it almost makes me want to vomit. And depending on what point in the night you're in, it could either start your night off awful or it could immediately end your night by taking a trip to the bathroom. But that's just some petty adult shit that I do sometimes. I suppose you could call it childish, but I prefer to use the word petty. It seems more mature, right? Now let's be real, there's nothing mature about being petty, but sometimes being the bigger person is over fucking rated. Like, when was the last time you laughed so hard that you almost fucking peed your pants because of something just so petty and immature? Those are the kind of feelings I'm striving for when I commit a petty act, okay? So when I say where all my petty people at, that's what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? And on this podcast, sometimes we recognize that it's okay not to be the bigger person. It is what it is, okay? Sometimes we laugh at things that we're not supposed to laugh at. We're only human, right? With that being said, I would just like to quickly address the epidemic that is sweeping the nation, and that is people that take karaoke at bars way too fucking seriously. Like, I'm talking about like the sober karaoke singers, like the people that seek out karaoke nights on weekdays just so they can go and sing the fuck out of some Dixie Chicks on a Tuesday night. And lo and behold, last night, my boyfriend and I, exhausted from the day, decided we're gonna go out to eat. Let's go get a pizza. So we go to a little local restaurant. They always have shit going on during the week. They do fucking line dancing sometimes at this place. And you bet your ass it was fucking karaoke night. When I tell you these people assume that they're auditioning for American Idol, I shit you not. I remember when American Idol used to have blooper reels, or like back when Randy Jackson and Simon Cowell were on there, and they were just laughing their ass off at all of the awful auditions. That was me and my boyfriend sitting in that restaurant listening to some of these people sing karaoke. I would kill for the confidence that some of these people have. And it cracks me up because these people take it so seriously, like vocally so seriously, but half the time they pick songs that they don't even know the fucking words to. Like, they're getting the words wrong, or like the key is off, like the tone is off, like they're totally tone deaf motherfuckers, but this is their fucking life. Like, they are devoted to singing this karaoke song. I just don't understand where that sense of false confidence comes from, but quite frankly, I fucking want it. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. I had an extreme sense of self-confidence as a kid, like false self-confidence, and I honestly don't know why. I think it was just because I genuinely didn't know any better. It also could be a combination of being an only child, but it took me years of embarrassing myself to finally realize that I'm not as great as I think I am. And saying that out loud sounds awful, but if you knew me as a kid or even as like a teenager, you would know what I'm talking about. However, my false sense of confidence did not stop there, because although I didn't have siblings, I was very close with my female cousins who participated in beauty pageants. And I wanted to be just like them, so I insisted to my mom that I had to do a fucking beauty pageant. And if there's one thing about having a false sense of confidence that is actually a good thing, I'll say that I never gave up, because I competed in beauty pageants for damn near 10 years and I never fucking won. And when I say beauty pageants, I'm not talking about like the toddlers and tiara shit. I'm talking about like my town's local pageant. It wasn't based off of looks, although I was cute as fuck. And when I say I did pageants for 10 years, I mean I did one pageant a year, and it was my town's like local beauty pageant, like the shit that you see at like the county fair, except it was done in like my middle school gym. There was no talent, no like bikini portion or whatever. It was just like you did an onstage speech, you did an interview, and if I didn't fuck up the onstage speech, I fucked up the interview, and if I didn't fuck up the interview, then I always fucked up the onstage speech. I'm telling you, out of the 10 pageants that I did, I probably forgot my speech on stage at least 5 times. Like, for most people, it would be extremely embarrassing to go on stage in front of a huge auditorium of people, get halfway through a speech that you're supposed to have had memorized months prior, and then just blank out. And when I say blank out, I mean blank the fuck out. Like, usually, you know, they tell you like try to recover, make something up. Like, I could not think of a single fucking word to say. The only thing I could ever think to say was, I forgot my speech. And I would literally say it just like that, like so perky, like as if nothing was wrong, like who the fuck? And the worst part about all of it is that there is video evidence of all of this, because my mom insisted on buying every single pageant DVD they had to offer. And of course, my dumbass insisted that she do it too, because every year that I competed, I thought I was gonna win. It's like I'm doing all these pageants at one point or another. Statistically, I should be winning by now, right? I wish I could make that shit up, but 18-year-old Rachel was a fucking idiot. Moments like that is where a majority of my adulthood anxiety comes from. Like, why the fuck did I even say that? Like, what was I thinking? So yeah, pageantry is a lot like customer service. You have to fake it often, and I was just never meant for that shit. All right, let's switch gears a little bit here. I'd like to introduce a new segment to Puff Puff Petty called Bitch, Are You High? There's really no rhyme or reason to this segment, and you don't necessarily have to be high to have these thoughts. It's more like deep late night thoughts as well. But really, it's just random ass shit that kind of makes you think twice. And this section was recorded before I started blanket recording, so if the audio is not perfect or it's a little bit off, that's why. Don't sue me, I'm not perfect. But without further ado, here are my deep late night thoughts from my new segment, Bitch, Are You High? Have you ever just gotten high as fuck and thought about the concept of laws? Like the fact that one day somebody was just wrote some shit down and was like, yep, this sounds good. This is about right. And now we all just kind of follow them. Like, how does that make sense? It's really mind fucking when you think about it. What else is really mind fucking? The thought of a military draft. Somehow, some way, the military can literally just be like, we're going to war. You have to come. I know a lot of people that would technically be eligible for a draft, including myself. And let's be real, we're fucked if we have a draft. If we ever get to the point in society where there is a war big enough that we need a fucking draft, they had a lot more faith in people way back when, because I don't have faith in none of these bitches anymore. And quite frankly, I don't think anybody will actually show up. And it's what are you gonna do? Punish everyone for not showing up to the draft? No, they can't get us all. Let's be real. Thank you for listening to this segment of Bitch, Are You High? Let me know what you guys think about that one. Wow. Well, thank you so much for listening to the second episode of Puff Puff Petty. Again, I am your host, Rachel Colangelo. Feedback is always welcome. Please slide in the DMs. Tell me what you think. Tell me what kind of topics you want to hear about. I think for some future episodes, I'd like to bring some guests on. So if you're interested in being a guest or have any guest recommendations, please send them my way. I'd love to have you and I'd love to banter with people. But until then, you can follow my personal Instagram at RayHL, RAY, the number 8, CHEL, or you can follow Puff Puff Petty's social media at Puff Puff Petty. All the links will be in the description, but until next time, this is Puff Puff Petty, and I'm your host, Rachel Colangelo. See ya!